A week. That is all it took for someone to make me feel like I had finally met the person people write songs about. In 7 days, I got flowers sent to my door, long good morning texts before I even opened my eyes, and messages that sounded so certain, so intense, so flattering that a part of me almost felt guilty for not giving the same energy back. He said I was different. He said he had never felt this way before. He said meeting me felt like fate. And then before I had even learned his middle name, before I had seen him annoyed, disappointed, bored, stressed, or tired, he looked at me and said something that should have sounded absurd, but somehow felt romantic in the moment. He said, "I can see myself marrying you." I remember smiling when he said it, not because I believed it completely, but because some small, lonely part of me wanted to. I think that is what makes this kind of experience so powerful. It does not arrive wearing a red warning sign. It arrives dressed as certainty. It arrives as attention, admiration, gifts, urgency, and a feeling so intoxicating that your nervous system confuses speed with depth. I did not think, this is too much too soon. I thought, wow, maybe this is what it feels like when someone is sure about you. At first, everything about him felt impressive. He remembered tiny details from my stories. He sent me food when I mentioned I skipped lunch. He called me beautiful in a way that felt more emotional than physical. He said he wanted something serious, not games. He said he was tired of casual dating. He said he wanted peace, honesty, and a real future. Those words are very hard to resist when they match things you secretly want too. And that is why love bombing can be so hard to spot early. It often sounds like your dream relationship in fast forward. But then the pace kept getting faster, not naturally fast, pushed fast. He wanted to see me almost every day. If I took a little longer to reply, he asked if everything was okay in a tone that sounded sweet, but felt strangely heavy. If I said I was meeting friends, he joked that he was jealous. If I said I needed a night alone, he said he missed me already. Again, each moment by itself looked small, almost harmless, even cute. But when I put them together, I started to feel something I could not ignore. I felt full, but not safe. Wanted, but not free. Special, but somehow under pressure. That was the moment I realized an important difference that I think a lot of us miss. Real connection can feel exciting, yes, but it also gives you room to breathe. It can be warm without being suffocating. It can be intentional without trying to lock you in before trust has had time to grow. Love bombing often creates intensity before it creates reality. It gives you the feeling of a deep bond before the foundation of one actually exists. Looking back, I can see 3 signs that showed up early. The first was accelerated intimacy. He was trying to create emotional closeness at a speed that my actual experience with him could not support yet. He talked like we had known each other for months when it had barely been days. He used words like always, forever, and meant to be before we had even had one real conflict. That kind of fast intimacy can feel magical, but it can also be a shortcut. And shortcuts in relationships are dangerous because they can make you trust a fantasy before you have enough evidence to trust a person. The second sign was grand promises. Big future talk sounds romantic when you are in it. Talking about trips, living together, marriage, growing old together. But early grand promises are often not proof of deep love. Sometimes they are proof that someone is trying to create emotional commitment before you have enough information to choose freely. A promise made too early is easy to make because it is not being tested by real life yet. The person has not had to show patience, consistency, accountability, or respect under pressure. Words are cheap when time has not had a chance to examine them. The third sign was early exclusivity pressure. He did not always demand it directly at first. Sometimes it came through questions. You are not talking to anyone else, right? I just like focusing on one person. I do not want to share your attention. People can want exclusivity for healthy reasons, of course. But when someone pushes for emotional or relational exclusivity before trust is built, that is worth noticing. Especially when the relationship is moving so fast that you barely have time to think. The message underneath can become, decide now before you have enough data. And anything that tries to rush your decision-making deserves a second look. What made me wake up was not one dramatic event. It was my body. My body was ahead of my excuses. My mind kept saying, maybe he is just passionate. Maybe this is normal. Maybe I am scared of good love. But my body felt crowded. Every message felt like something I had to manage. Every sweet gesture started coming with an invisible obligation. The gifts were nice, but they also made me feel like I owed emotional certainty in return. The compliments were flattering, but they started to feel like they were building a version of me that I had to keep performing. That is another thing people do not talk about enough. When someone idealizes you too quickly, it can feel good at first, but then it becomes exhausting. Because now you are not just getting to know each other, you are trying not to disappoint the fantasy they built around you. So I had to learn something that changed the way I date. When feelings move fast, my decisions must move slow. That became my rule. Not because I wanted to be cold, not because I wanted to play games, but because time reveals what intensity hides. I started using time markers. This helped me more than any perfect reply or confrontation script ever could. Instead of asking, do I like this person? I asked, what do I actually know after 1 week? After 1 month? After 3 months? That question saved me. After 1 week, I might know that someone is charming, attentive, and exciting. But I do not know how they handle disappointment. I do not know whether their kindness is consistent or just concentrated. I do not know whether they respect boundaries when they do not get what they want. I do not know whether they are in love with me or in love with the feeling of intensity. Time markers bring you back to reality. They help you separate chemistry from character. For me, 1 week is not enough for future promises to mean anything. 1 month is not enough for pressure around exclusivity to feel wise. 3 months starts to show patterns. 6 months shows more. Time does not kill healthy love. It strengthens it. The right person does not lose interest because you refuse to act like a lifetime commitment should be decided in a rush. So I slowed the rhythm down on purpose. I did not do it dramatically. I did it clearly. I said I liked getting to know him, but I wanted to move at a pace that felt grounded. I stopped responding immediately all day long. I kept my plans with friends. I paid attention to how he reacted when I created space. That part matters so much, because when you slow things down, you do not just regulate yourself, you reveal the other person. And what I learned was everything. The sweeter his words had been, the colder his reaction became when I stopped matching the speed. He got irritated, then distant, then confusing. The man who said I was his future after 1 week suddenly acted offended that I wanted more time. That is when it clicked for me. He was not responding to closeness growing naturally. He was responding to access being limited. What he wanted was not just connection. He wanted fast, emotional certainty, and he wanted it on his timeline. That experience taught me something painful, but valuable. Not every intense beginning is manipulation, but every intense beginning should still be tested by time. Healthy love can survive pacing. Healthy love respects process. Healthy love does not punish you for having boundaries. And healthy love does not need to convince you that forever has arrived before trust has even unpacked its bags. Now, when something feels incredibly good, I do not only ask whether I enjoy it, I ask whether it is sustainable. I ask whether I can still hear my own thoughts inside it. I ask whether this person is learning me or rushing to claim me. Because love bombing is not just about someone being too nice. It is about speed, pressure, and disproportion. Too much closeness before enough reality. Too many promises before enough proof. Too much exclusivity before enough trust. If you are in something like this right now, I want to say one thing clearly. Being flattered does not make you foolish. Enjoying attention does not make you weak. We all want to feel chosen. We all want to feel special. The lesson is not to shut your heart down. The lesson is to let time protect it. Let consistency speak louder than intensity. Let actions repeat before you call them character. Let the relationship breathe long enough for truth to show up. I used to think the strongest feelings were the clearest sign. Now I think the clearest sign is what remains when the rush is gone. So if someone is giving you gifts, huge promises, and a future that sounds almost too perfect after a few days, do not ask only, "Is this romantic?" Ask, "Why is this moving so fast?" And then do the one thing that love bombing hates the most. Slow down. Because the right love will still be there at a healthy pace. And the wrong one usually disappears the moment you stop running.